There is something about Fajr that cannot be explained unless you have tasted it. Before the world wakes up, before the noise begins, before responsibilities start pulling you in every direction, Allah gives you a moment that is untouched. The air feels different, the heart feels lighter, and the soul feels closer to its origin. This is not accidental. This is intentional. Allah chose this time for a reason, because at this hour, sincerity comes naturally and distractions fall silent. When you stand or sit after Fajr, thinking, you are not competing with the world for attention, you are alone with your Lord. In that quiet thinking, your du'as do not need decoration, they do not need perfection, they only need truth. A whispered dua at Fajr can carry more weight than long supplications made when the heart is busy. This is the time when angels witness, when mercy descends, thinking, and when Allah listens in a way that softens even the hardest hearts. Many of us rush through Fajr and move on, in not realizing that the moments after it are an open door. A door that doesn't require permission, status, or eloquence, only presence. Think about how often we complain that our du'as feel heavy or unanswered. King, could it be that we are asking at the wrong time with distracted hearts? After Fajr, the soul is awake before the ego takes control. Fear is quieter, hope is louder, trust comes easier, thinking. This is why the righteous guarded this time so carefully. They understood that a few sincere moments after Fajr could realign the entire day. King, it is like setting the direction of your heart before life begins to push it around. When you make dua at this hour, thinking, you are not just asking Allah to fix your problems, you are placing your day in His hands. You are saying, Ya Allah, King, before I speak to people, before I face challenges, before I make decisions, I turn to you first. And Allah loves to be turned to first. Do not underestimate these moments. Do not let them slip away unnoticed. Because sometimes, King, the smallest dua made in the quiet of Fajr becomes the reason your entire day is protected. One of the most overlooked truths is that Allah does not need us to call upon Him, yet He still asks us to do so. Think about that for a moment. The one who knows what is hidden in your heart, King, the one who understands your pain before you give it a name, still invites you to raise your hands and speak. This invitation itself is mercy. In the Quran, Allah repeatedly reminds us to call upon Him, to ask, to seek, thinking, and to trust. Not because He is unaware, but because turning to Him changes us before it changes our circumstances. Thinking, when Allah tells you to ask, He is teaching you where your reliance belongs. He is pulling your heart away from people, thinking, from plans, from your own limited strength, and reconnecting it to the source of all power. Many people feel shy to ask Allah, thinking they are asking too much or too often. But Allah is not like His creation. Thinking, the more you ask Him, the more beloved you become. In fact, Allah dislikes when His servant turns away and stops asking, because silence from the heart often means distance. There is a reason Allah chose specific words in the Quran and taught them to us as duas. These are not random phrases, King. They are words filled with wisdom, balance, and mercy. When you recite a Quranic dua, you are not just making a request, King. You are aligning your heart with what Allah loves. You are acknowledging His lordship, His control, and His perfect timing. Thinking, that is why these duas carry a special weight. They reshape your mindset, soften your expectations, and strengthen your trust. Sometimes we think dua is only for times of desperation. But Allah invites you to call upon Him in ease just as much as in hardship. When you answer Allah's invitation daily, Especially in the early hours, you build a relationship, not just a list of requests. Your voice becomes familiar in the court of mercy. Your heart becomes trained to return to Him first, thinking. Allah's call to make dua is not a burden, it is an open door. And every time you walk through it, you are reminding your soul that it is never alone. So when Allah invites you to ask, do not hesitate, thinking, because responding to that invitation may be the very thing that transforms your life. Thinking, there are certain words in the Quran that do more than ask for something. They reshape the way the heart sees everything. Thinking, a Quranic dua is not only about what you want from Allah, it is about who you become while you are asking. When these words come from revelation itself, thinking, they carry a depth that goes beyond our emotions and beyond our understanding. Thinking, they teach the heart how to surrender before the tongue even finishes the sentence. When you recite a Quranic dua after Fajr, something subtle but powerful happens. Thinking, you begin the day by admitting that Allah knows better than you do. Thinking, you acknowledge that His wisdom is greater than your plans and His mercy is wider than your fears. Thinking, this kind of dua gently removes the burden of control from your chest. You stop demanding outcomes and start trusting processes. And in that trust, the heart finds peace, even before answers appear. Many of us think peace comes after Allah responds the way we want. But the Quran teaches us something deeper. Peace comes when the heart aligns with Allah's will, not when circumstances align with our desires. A Quranic dua trains your soul to say, Ya Allah, choose for me, thinking, because you see what I cannot. That shift alone can heal anxieties that no solution ever could. Thinking, these duas also cleans the heart from hidden fears and silent doubts. Thinking, they remind you that Allah is closer than your worries, stronger than your obstacles, and more generous than your expectations. When you repeat these words consistently, thinking, they begin to echo in your thoughts throughout the day. In moments of stress, the heart remembers what it said at dawn. In moments of confusion, the soul recalls its surrender. This is why the timing matters. After Fajr, the heart is still soft, still open, still receptive. When a Quranic dua enters at this moment, it settles deeply, like a seed placed in fertile soil. Even if the day becomes heavy, that seed continues to grow quietly, thinking. So this dua is not just something you recite, it is something you carry. It walks with you, steadies you, and reminds you that Allah is in control long after the words have left your lips. Many people think that strength in dua comes from how long it is or how beautifully it is spoken, thinking. But Allah looks at something far simpler: consistency. Showing up every morning, even when you feel tired, even when your heart feels heavy, matters more than finding perfect words. This is why some duas become non-negotiable. Thinking, not because they are complicated, but because they anchor the soul. King, reciting the same Quranic dua after Fajr day after day builds a quiet discipline that Allah loves. Thinking, there are mornings when you feel inspired, and there are mornings when you feel empty. Thinking, consistency means you show up for both. You recite even when emotions are low, trusting that Allah sees your effort. Thinking, over time this repetition does something beautiful. The dua stops feeling like a routine and starts feeling like a refuge. Thinking, it becomes the first place your heart runs to before the world demands your attention. King, Allah does not ask you to overwhelm yourself with long lists of supplications. He asks you to remember Him regularly. A short, sincere dua repeated daily can protect the heart more than many words said once in a while. Thinking, this is why the righteous focused on habits, not moments. thinking. They understood that small actions done consistently open doors that sudden bursts of worship cannot. When you never miss this dua after Fajr, you are silently declaring your dependence on Allah. You are saying, Ya Allah, I begin my day with you, not with my worries. And Allah responds to this kind of reliance in ways you may not immediately notice. Sometimes the answer comes as ease. Sometimes it comes as patience. Sometimes it comes as strength you didn't know you had. Consistency also teaches the soul humility. You stop chasing emotional highs and start valuing obedience. You learn that worship is not about how you feel, but about who you trust. Even on days when life feels heavy, this simple act keeps your heart connected to Allah. This is why I never miss this dua. Not because I am perfect, but because I am needy. And every morning, this small act reminds me that Allah is enough, no matter what the day brings. When you make a sincere dua after Fajr, it does not end when you lower your hands. That dua moves with you. It walks into your day quietly, protecting you in ways you may never notice. Many times, Allah's protection is not dramatic. It is subtle. It is a delay that saves you, a silence that prevents harm, thinking, a decision that turns your heart away from something that would have wounded you later, thinking. The morning is the foundation of the day. What you place in it determines how the rest of it unfolds. When you begin with a Quranic dua, you are placing your trust in Allah before facing people, pressures, and problems. Thinking, even when the day becomes chaotic, that early surrender continues to work. You may forget your dua by midday, but Allah does not forget it. He honors it moment by moment. There are times when you look back at your day and realize things went smoothly without effort. Conversations softened. Difficult moments passed without escalation. Temptations lost their pull. These are not coincidences. Thinking, this is the unseen effect of turning to Allah before sunrise. The angels who witnessed your Fajr are still making dua for you as you move through your responsibilities. Thinking, sometimes protection comes in the form of patience. You are tested, but your reaction is calmer than expected. Other times it comes as guidance. You choose words more carefully, avoid mistakes, or feel a sudden clarity in confusion. Thinking, this is how Allah answers many du'as, not by removing every challenge, but by strengthening the heart that faces them. The beauty of a Fajr dua is that it places Barakah in your time. Tasks feel lighter. Effort feels more meaningful. Even when things do not go as planned, your heart remains anchored. You may not realize it, thinking, but Allah is guarding you from things you never even asked about. This is why starting the day with dua is so powerful. You are not walking alone. You are moving under divine care, step by step, hour by hour. And when night returns, you realize that you were carried through the day by a mercy you invoked at dawn. Real change does not usually begin in loud moments or dramatic decisions. It begins quietly before sunrise, when most of the world is still asleep. Those early moments after Fajr are where destinies are shaped, even if no one else sees it. When you choose to turn to Allah at that time, you are choosing a different path. Thinking, one that starts with surrender instead of struggle. Many people chase success, peace, and clarity throughout the day, thinking. Yet they overlook the time when Allah's mercy is closest. Winning the morning is not about productivity or routines alone, about priority. When Allah becomes the first focus of your day, everything else finds its proper place. Worries shrink, intentions purify, and the heart steadies itself before life tests it. The most powerful transformations often come from small, hidden acts. A single dua after Fajr, made consistently and sincerely, can change the direction of a life. It can protect you from paths that were never meant for you and open doors you never knew to ask for. Thinking. Allah does not need grand gestures. He responds to hearts that return to Him quietly and persistently. There will be days when waking up feels heavy. Days when you feel unmotivated or spiritually dry. Thinking. But those are the days when this moment matters most. Showing up despite weakness is a form of strength Allah loves. It is a sign that your trust is not tied to feelings, but to faith. Before the sun rises, thinking, Allah offers you a chance to reset, to let go of yesterday's burdens and step into the day under His care. Thinking, when you choose to make dua at this hour, you are telling Allah that you want His guidance more than your own plans, His protection more than your own effort. Do not underestimate what happens before sunrise, because the life you want is often written in the moments when you choose Allah first.